Welcome back to the MVP show. Today we're chatting with Nicholas Hayduk. A few months ago, he guested in our Dynamics 365 practice show. That's when it was named that, where he shared his knowledge and expertise on Dynamics Portal. We got a bit of an update in this episode just now, so that's really nice. Good to get to know him a bit better. Of course, he's an MVP now, and we look at that little journey of how he became one. Full show notes for this episode, please visit nz365guide.com/165. Now let's get on with the show. Hey Nick, welcome to the MVP show.
Thanks a lot, Mark, for having me.
Good, man. It's good to have you on. This is the second time you've been on the show with me, but the other time was on one of my other shows, where I think
pre-award days, as I call them, pre-award days. Right?
Pre-award days. So, how's it been, man?
It's been a whirlwind. That's since I did receive my award here. It's I found out it's a full-time job, man. Like it's nonstop.
Yeah. What's been the biggest surprise, if you like, that you've taken away from it?
Like I said, I think just how much goes on kind of behind the scenes. How much, like I said, it's a full-time job keeping up with all the different communication channels that we have, and just kind of seeing, how many times people are emailing back and forth, and when I first got in, it was at a very kind of busy time. So, there was a few days there where I'm like, do these people have regular jobs? Like, I know at that time it was Gustav, and he was like emailing all the time, and I'm like, Gustav, like you must have time to do real work. And it's so I think I joined at a very kind of peak time in terms of there was a lot going on at that time, and things have quieted down just a little bit. But yeah, like it's a full-time job.
So how long you been in now?
So I got my award in September. So a couple months now, 3 months. Yeah.
So cool, man. What's been the, apart from the deluge of comms, that come through and insights you get, kind of been any other benefits you've kind of noticed that you've liked?
Do you know what? I was pretty fortunate in that I kind of felt like I was a part of the MVP family before I was really a part of the MVP family. So really, I would say the last 6 to 8 months, maybe even close to a year, where it was like you kind of felt the benefits. You go to the conferences and you can hang out with all these people with all this different knowledge. I mean, sure, there's been a few there's a few benefits once you actually get into the program, the access to Microsoft, all that sort of stuff. But I really felt like the major benefits, the people, the networking, all that sort of stuff. I was kind of lucky enough to be embraced by the community and like the MVPs themselves, in advance of that. So I was pretty fortunate that way.
So good, man. So what part of the world do you hail from anyhow? What do you do when you're not doing MVP stuff or working your full-time job?
Yeah. So, I mean, the working the full-time job does take a lot of time. So my day job is I have a small consulting practice here in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, if anyone knows where that is. And so I do that. And then apart from that, I've got my wife and a couple of little kids that keep me busy. So between that and, trying to stay a little bit active in sports and, the two full-time jobs, being an MVP and running a business, it keeps me pretty busy.
You say, does anyone know where that is? What's Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada? That, I tell you, a former MVP made that name famous, I feel.
He did. My former boss. I
don't know if I knew that. I didn't realize. Who are we talking about?
I'm assuming you're talking about Shan MacArthur?
Shan MacArthur, that's it.
Yes. So it's over 10 years ago now that I started my career working at ADX Studio. So Shan was my first boss.
Wow, okay. So when I ask you about who's the worst boss you work for, hopefully that name doesn't come up again.
Well, no. I mean, it's tough because after I moved on from ADX Studio, I kind of became my own boss. So it was there's a short list. So someone could be the best and the worst at the same time. So
what's your focus area? Everybody that comes into the MVP program usually comes in because they got Jedi mind skills and things like that in one particular area. What's yours?
So because of my background at ADX Studio, my specialty would be portals. That's what I do most of the day and most of the night is I work on Portals projects. So what used to be ADX Studio Portals and then turned into Dynamics 365 Portals and now Power Apps Portals. That's certainly where I spend most of my day.
So, it's been a couple of months since I've talked to anybody about Portals, and give us an update, just a little primer, no more than that, of just the last 2 months. What's been the big deals for you that, like, what have you seen? What are you hoping for? That type of thing.
Yeah, so I mean the licensing continues to be a hot topic for sure. I mean, not really much as there was the first wave of licensing where they announced it, and there was let's say a bit of a backlash, and then they made a few tweaks. They introduced some more kind of volume discounts, that sort of thing, and so they did that, and that certainly helped. I don't think everyone is 100% satisfied, nor will most people ever be with any sort of licensing. But really, what's super exciting to us is that now, in addition to there being Canvas and model-driven apps, now the third type of app is Power Apps, Portals. So, I mean, it's just, for those of us who kind of have lived off in this corner where, maybe people didn't even really knew we exist, now it's kind of front and center. So that's really exciting for us.
Yeah, what I couldn't get over is the number of people. It was almost like it was a brand new invented product category, right? It was when the Power App Portals was announced, it just blew up big time. The number of people that were jumping on board, signing up for the trial instances and what was absolutely phenomenal. Do you think it's settled down at all?
Yeah, I think maybe licensing may have settled that down a little bit. So, some of that excitement, because really when it was first announced, we didn't really know what the licensing would be, and now that's become a little bit more apparent. The price points may be a little bit higher than people were expecting. A lot of people thought maybe it would go down in price, maybe after as compared to the D365 portals, but I don't think anyone would argue that that's the case. So so that's been interesting. In those first few weeks after the announcement of Power Apps Portals, I kept getting all these emails. So which one should we be using? What's the difference? And really, what really the thing is that there is no difference. It really was more of a marketing thing than anything. Technology wise, all they did was make it so that you could install a portal on kind of more of a bare CDS instance, as opposed to requiring the Dynamics first party apps. And so again, kind of answering all those questions, which one should I use? Well, it's the same thing. It's just, it's like, what types of entities should I create? What kind of custom entities? Well, they're custom entities, whether it's in CDS or whether it's in portals, right? So it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you're at Orlando, right, for the community summit. Was that right?
I was there.
And did you win any awards while you were there?
Well, I think I won the most coveted award while I was there, which was
Tell me about it.
Well, so there was a session put on by a couple of older gentlemen.
Are you saying follically challenged gentlemen?
Follically challenged, yep, for sure. And they put on the Power Platform Pub Quiz. And Team Canada, of which I was honored to be a member of. You'd think that would mean all the people were from Canada, but much to the chagrin of the Hitachi people, that's not true. But Team Canada did win the championship, and thus were awarded the Power Platform Pub Quiz Trophy, which, if you're interested, you can find that on Twitter and go follow the new trophy.
Yeah,
which,
I love it. I love it, and it looks like it's becoming a mascot as well now, right?
Exactly. So, and something I just kind of has started putting out there is that I think we're going to, in the new year here, is start just doing some kind of trivia, maybe on a weekly basis, that sort of thing. So, if you like trivia and you like the Power Platform, take a look out for that Twitter and follow it and join the fun in the new year.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. And yeah. So, what was the Twitter account for the mascot?
It is the PP Pub Quiz Trophy.
The Power Platform Pub Quiz Trophy, but PP Pub Quiz Trophy. I love it.
Exactly.
Good man. Good.
So if you find the Twitter picture with the shiny pink Minnie Mouse trophy, you found the right one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That sure was a lot of fun. What's your next kind of events that you're doing? Are you involved in speaking at anything? What are you up to?
So I think the next thing on my list is the summits in Barcelona. I think is the next thing on my list. You know, in our part of the world, February is vacation time where we go to somewhere a little bit warmer. So I'm taking some time off in February, and the next scheduled event I believe I'm going to be heading out to would be in Barcelona, and then of course the following week I'm very much looking forward to MVP Summit.
So true, myself included. And yeah, I'm planning on being in Barcelona myself. I better turn up. I think I've got 3 speaking slots so far, so I think that'll keep me busy.
Did you put in for a pub quiz trivia?
I did, but actually, I've got 4 speaking slots accepted now, as in 1 Power Plat, 1 in D365. Have I had D365? Yes, 1 in D365, and 2 in Extreme. So, yeah, pretty nuts. But I mean, the Extreme ones only just came in yesterday, so I assume they're still filtering through everything and making decisions and stuff like that. So. Interesting times. Tell me, what's been the have you had many kind of inquiries from people about MVPdom?
I haven't. I've seen a lot of people, when they made the kind of the big changes, a year and a half ago, where you had to be nominated by an MVP. I'm now seeing other MVPs are reporting people just randomly asking them if they'll nominate, which is it's an interesting technique, I guess. Not necessarily the one I would have followed, but so far, since I'm pretty brand new, I haven't got that. I did notice that right away as soon as my status was updated. You do get a lot more people reaching out to you on LinkedIn. I just haven't had anyone ask me yet to nominate them. So I've avoided that.
Yeah. I tend not to nominate many people. In fact, I think the last time I nominated somebody was 3 years ago. But people, for some reason, think that I do nominate a bunch of people. But no, as in, like, I've got to be, for me to nominate, I've got to be like, man, you need to be a rock star. I'm definitely wouldn't just do it out of the blue. I couldn't imagine that working too well. So 2020, we're in the year by, I think, the time this podcast goes live. What's the big, things that you're planning in your company?
So within my company, we're actually working on an ISV product. So that's it's still a little bit under wraps as to kind of what it is, but we are working on an ISV product. I thought I'd try something a little different. We typically just do the typical consulting type thing, but I thought, hey, I'm kind of up for a new challenge. So we've been working at it for a few months now, and so we're hoping kind of early 2020 to be able to start sharing some news as to what we're working on, and we're pretty excited. It's, like I said, it's a very different way of thinking about it, right? When you're doing the consulting, everything's kind of hours for money, where when you do the ISV, it's a completely different ball game. So
product development, right? There's a lot of burn time without being able to jump into market, but yeah, the sooner you get people, on it, working with it, getting your MVP up there, and when I say MVP, the minimum viable product. The quicker you can validate without burning too many burn cycles. So very cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that come to market. With your company, are you 100% only focused on portals, or do you do other kind of consulting as well?
Yeah, so we do a few different things. So I if you look at where kind of CRM, when I got started in version 4, with the traditional kind of sales, customer service, that's kind of our background. So, we do some consulting, and, there's a few projects we do that, aren't necessarily even portals specific, but so just kind of generic Dynamics 365 type projects. Most of those are honestly in our local market here in Saskatchewan. There's not a ton of partners here. So, when the SMB clients are looking for someone in the area that they need some help, customize them entities, writing some reports, that sort of thing, we'll happily do that. And there won't necessarily be a portal involved. But, outside of that, we're doing a lot of portals work all over around the world. So we don't have too many people calling us for non-portal stuff. But in addition to that, we also just do regular, we do a lot of, like, say, WordPress sites that aren't even related to Dynamics. So we've we've got a practice that's essentially, we're doing website development and we do dynamics, and of course where those two meet, which is portals, is really kind of our key focus. But there's a lot of advertising marketing agencies in the province that we do a lot of the tech work for them, so doing the HTML, CSS, that sort of thing. So keeps our skills sharp.
Okay. I didn't realize that you're so much broader when it comes to this than just the side of things around Microsoft portals. I didn't realize that you did WordPress stuff as well. Have you had a look at George Naminci's little connector tool?
I definitely have. Yep. That is if you're doing WordPress and you're doing dynamics and you're trying to link them together, his PHP toolkit, all that sort of stuff. It's that's definitely worth taking a look at. Before I even knew who George was, I remember the first time I went to a conference, it was it wasn't Nashville. What was the one before Nashville? Oh no, I think it actually was Nashville, and at the UG Summit in Nashville. And I was walking the show floor there. I didn't know anyone. It was my first conference, and I walked past the Alexa CRM booth, and I saw WordPress. And because we do a lot of WordPress work, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I started talking, and eventually I kind of made the connection with who that was. But definitely WordPress and Dynamics, Alexa CRM. That's the first place to look.
Wow. Okay, that's very good. That's very cool. So, what about international work? Are you kind of engaging with customers more offshore or onshore?
I would say a lot of our work is probably for U.S. clients. We're just starting a big project for an organization in Australia. We do a lot of work in Europe, that sort of thing. So, we're pretty lucky that people reach out to us from all over the world for help with portals. And so it doesn't really matter where you work or where the organization is located these days. We can kind of help them out wherever they are.
Yeah. And so give me a broad kind of brushstroke of what your typical industries that you're working in.
You know what? We really don't necessarily have any specialties. I would say we do a lot of government work, but really not on purpose. I think it's just, a lot of times that kind of citizen engagement side of things really lends itself to portals. And so that's where, again, a lot in our local market here, we the agencies that we work for do have a lot of government work. So maybe that's kind of where we started. And like I said, we still seem to attract a lot of the government work. So, and specifically for some reason, a lot in healthcare, whether it's kind of doctors or public health, that sort of stuff. We've for some reason have seemed to do a lot in healthcare.
Yeah. For people considering or wanting to become MVPs and kind of join the family, so to speak, what's your observations that, what would your recommendations be based on your observations?
So I've heard people ask this question, and I know that the typical answer is, you have to love, you don't do it for the award, right? You do it because you love it. Which, I don't disagree with it, because that's absolutely true. But at the same time, I think it's okay to want it. I mean, I think having the goal of MVP is not a bad thing. So I'm happy to be honest about the fact that, that was one of my goals. Now, it's 100% true that if that is the only reason you're doing it, it's never going to happen. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it as motivation. That doesn't mean that if you're trying to get it and you don't get it, that it's like, oh, whatever, it is a I guess it's a relatively big deal to go through that whole process and get it. So it's not, it's something that can be a goal. You can kind of work towards it. I was meeting with my my CPM a couple of weeks ago, my community liaison at Microsoft, and one of the things I was saying to him is, I've got X number of hours that I like to put into community stuff. If we get the direction from Microsoft that says, and this is completely made up, but let's just pretend, hey, we love videos, we hate blogs. Well, if I've got 5 hours to spend on community stuff this week, and I know that I like doing blogs and I like doing videos, well, why wouldn't I spend my 5 hours doing videos if that's what Microsoft is going to do to keep me in the program, right? And I don't think that there's any, there's no shame in that. It's a great program. It's a great group to be a part of. So, why wouldn't you be kind of doing what you can to stay in the program? Exactly.
No, good, valid insight. Is there anything that concerns you or activity you see in the community that you kind of like, what's going on there?
That's a good question. I haven't kind of seen too much. There's always kind of that line, and so this was something, a piece of feedback that I had received early on when people were looking at my contribution, is that if you look at my blog is all under engineered code, right? Which is my company, and so there's always that kind of line of, are you advertising for your company? Are you doing this for the community? And so one of the things that people told me is, hey, if you want to become MVP, you should get your blog off of your corporate site, which to be honest, I would have been happy to do. I literally did it because I was lazy. My corporate site is on WordPress, and I could just add a blog to it. But there is that kind of fine line between, are you advertising, are you writing posts? And so what, for me, like, you could read through every one of my, I don't know how many blog posts I've written at this point, but not one point do I mention, what engineered code does. There's no advertising part of it, but I think that there can sometimes be you write the first half of your blog post and the rest is like, and then you're kind of hawking your services, which I think can be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, valid. Very, very valid. Well, mate, our time's flowing. Are you ready for some quickfire questions?
Oh, I guess so.
You guess so?
I've been, I listened to these and some of your questions. I just listened to the Megan Walker one last night, and man, you asked her some tough questions. So I'm hoping you got some softballs for me.
What question don't you want me to ask you?
You know what? I'm going to let you ask the questions, and I'll tell you at the end which one I didn't like.
You're lucky you said that, because if you had told me a question that you didn't want to ask,
me. I know.
Well, let's start with that one then.
Okay.
Here we go. Would you rather experience the beginning of planet Earth or the end of planet Earth?
Oh, I think probably the end. I'd like to kind of see what happens. The beginning is, I don't know, it doesn't seem that exciting, but I think the end, I think we're going to go out with a bang. So yeah, the end.
What was the last product you returned?
Actually, I was at Costco the other day because I have one of those belts that flips. You can flip it back between black and brown, and the whole thing snapped off. So I returned that the other day. Costco's great for returns, so it's great.
Wow, good to know. Look at that, free ad for Costco.
Mm-hmm. I'm expecting a whole bunch of Costco swag at this point. So,
yeah. All those Costco listeners that jump on this podcast and listen.
Exactly.
What's the most illegal thing you've done?
Oh, you know what? I'm a pretty...
You're Canadian. That's what you're going to say,
I'm Canadian. You know what? I haven't... marijuana is legal in Canada. And I can't even say I did that when it was illegal. So I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, like speeding. Like, I don't know. I'm not very exciting. I didn't even really drink when I was underage. Like, I don't know. I'm not that much fun.
What's the best job you ever had?
Oh, my one right now. I don't think I would make a very good employee. So I'm kind of stuck at what I'm doing now because I'm not good at taking. I'm happy to take directions from a client when I know I can fire the client if I don't like them. So my current job is pretty awesome.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose and why?
I think it would be the teleportation. It's nice to be able to kind of skip the airport lines and all that sort of stuff, kind of go wherever you want. So, I would say teleportation.
Yeah, that would be sick, man. Imagine you could just be, for your example, right? Does it get to minus 30 or something, 30 degrees Celsius sometimes there? Are you in a similar area to the other Canadians?
Minus 30 is a warm day here in the winter.
Wow.
Minus 40, minus 50 sometimes.
So you imagine, you're having one of those days and you could go, you know what, Hawaii looks good today, and you could be there, right?
Exactly.
Man, that would be sick. It would be sick. Imagine good solar flare with the Northern Lights, bang, you'd be there and be able to watch it. It'd be awesome. Anyhow, what's your favorite family tradition?
I would say so growing up, we were close with both my father's family, my mother's family, and so there's always this kind of, not a fight, but there was always like, hey, where are we going to go for Christmas Day? And so what we actually ended up doing is we my mom's side of the family, we actually said, do you know what? There's a bunch of family members there that work shift work, and so it's kind of difficult for them to get Christmas Day off. But if they work Christmas, they can always get New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off. So we took one side of the family and we we said, hey, rather than Christmas, what we're going to do is New Year's as our big get together. So every New Year's Eve, we got together with all of my mom's family. It was like a potluck of hors d'oeuvres, and so everyone would make all this great food that was terrible for you, but it was delicious. And so we'd have New Year's Eve with the whole family. So that was that's always kind of my favorite night of the year.
Awesome, man. That's a good story. I like it. Nick, it's been great to have you on the show. Before we go, if people want to follow you, connect with you online, where can they go?
Whether it's kind of LinkedIn, Nicholas Hayduk, Hayduk, or on Twitter, you can follow me at engineered_code. Those are probably the two best ways of reaching out to me.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave feedback on iTunes. I'd appreciate that a lot. For some reason, just helps it rank up in the iTunes order of things. nz365guy.com/iTunes is all you need to type into your browser, and bang, I'll take you straight to the iTunes page so you can give me that vote. That would be amazing. Only if you appreciate it, though. If you don't, if you've got a problem with the show, hit me up, send me a message on LinkedIn Messenger or something like that, and then we can take on your ideas. Anyhow, full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/165. See you next Thursday.